ELI5 Why isn't more antibiotics injected rather than oral? Not really. Because if you inject something it goes into your blood. And blood goes everywhere. But giving antibiotics orally is very much less invasive than IV. If treatments are not invasive, then patients are more likely to take them. Because injections need to be performed by medical professionals and that would require people to make a lot of trips to hospitals or GPs and it'd put a huge strain on those facilities. Also, the more effort it takes to do something, the higher the odds people will quit doing it before it's safe to quit. And #X200B. Purely from a medical standpoint it's a good idea. But it's not practical in the real world. There are plenty of injected antibiotics and they wreck your gut health just as bad as oral antibiotics. From experiment on myself, if you take antibiotics orally, each time you take it, take a probiotic about 2 hours later. That gives the antibiotic time to move on from where it's killing everything, which will let the probiotic replace the population, and avoid a fungal microbe explosion, which is what causes the bloating and other issues from antibiotics. Doctor here. A lot of antibiotics we give are an injection and through an IV. They are systemic and still affect your digestive tract and there is still risk for diarrhea and even overgrowth of bad bacteria like Clostridium difficile. Probably be a bit less convenient if the treatment lasts for 5 to 7 days or longer and having to get that person into a setting to make the injection daily or twice daily. Doable but rather impractical for most people. If there is a serious infection, like blood sepsis, then the patient will be hospitalized and IV antibiotics given. I had to give my mom IV antibiotics for a week or so when I was 22. I will never forget it. Way so much trouble. She needed the line insert all the time. Then I had to hook up a tube once or twice a day with the drip. And I had to make sure there were no bubbles in the tube. It was so scary. She was a good patient. But what about a kid who will run around? Oh no. Besides all the reasons given above, neither the healthcare system nor the feds want you to be able to have needles at home. Diabetes and a few other conditions really do require them. But drug addicts need needles all the time and the last thing the anti-drug establishment wants is for everybody to have a few dozen leftover needles lying around their homes. Not a doctor but I assume the antibiotics people take target insertion receptors on the bacteria they are trying to kill. Those receptors probably aren't present in gut bacteria, basically making the meds oblivious to our good bacteria. Everybody wants to inject when possible. But a lot of the time, you just gotta settle for oral. But in seriousness, so that people can do regimens at home easily. Many people hate needles. Many would have trouble injecting. Mess it up. Pills are just easy. Because people aren't going to give themselves shots and pay for all the needles, disposing them. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe for more content.